the barn at Anvil Cleona High School, the home of your Anvil Cleona Dutchmen, where tonight the Columbia Crimson Tide roll into town for Youth Night as the Dutchmen look to keep their playoff hopes alive. I'm Jackson Hanley. Alongside me is Gus Giurintano. And Gus, welcome to the game day show this week. 1 week to go in the regular season, and the playoff chances for the Dutchmen are still high.
Yeah, we're going to talk about playoffs. Only 8 teams going to qualify for that district playoffs. Dutchmen got a chance to make league playoffs, though. I'm excited for that. Top 2 teams in each section will qualify for that. Jackson, start breaking us through this game.
Yeah, the Dutchmen are in Class 4A, so curious to see how some of those teams shape up here to wrap up the season with just 1 week to go, as I mentioned, in the regular season. Columbia comes into town 3-14, 2-6 in section play. They had a big win earlier in the week against Lancaster Catholic. Before that game, they lost six straight. But one of those wins that I talked about, the 3-14, one of those wins was actually Anvil Cleona a couple weeks ago.
Yeah, but we got to talk about it. You know who didn't play that game? We know who didn't play that game. Elijah Slaybach, out with an injury, our 1,000-point scorer. Not on the court for that, dealing with an ankle injury. He's back tonight. That's going to change the results. When he was out for that game, John Shea stepped up big. We're going to have them both back tonight. Yeah,
when we talked to Elijah in that game day show, I believe that was last week, he said he was kind of iffy, that ankle. He was going to test it out. I don't think he played as well those last couple of weeks since he's been kind of recovering. But as Gus mentioned, Elijah Slaybach is in the lineup tonight. He's 100%. When I talked to him today, as he was roaming throughout the halls here, I asked him, are you playing tonight? He says, I'm good to go, which is a good sign for the Dutchmen. You also mentioned John Shea. He's also really stepped up as of late, getting a lot of points for this Dutchman team. He was the Dutchman's leading scorer when Elijah was absent in the lineup. A guy I also want to mention here is Max Ortwine. Max Ortwine has really stepped up. He's a freshman. Tony Pena and Dom Kashadi are out indefinitely for this Dutchman team. So all the younger guys are kind of stepping up in big roles.
Yeah, I know you mentioned Dom Kashadi, Anthony Pena out indefinitely for personal reasons. And I'm excited for the young players to get sort of more of a role. Lane Peters, he's a guy I'm looking out for. We're trying to build this Dutchman team up for the future, and I think those spots opening up will be a good thing.
Yeah, Max Ortwine banged the game-winning 3 a couple weeks ago. That was a beautiful shot. I watched it on their film recap. We'll talk about him a little later and some of our key players and keys to victory. I really expect tonight to be a very solid battle between these two teams. Despite Columbia's record, I think this will be a very even matchup. A good game. The barn will probably be sold out tonight. It's a Friday night in Anvil Cleona, as we mention every week. Where else would you be than here?
Yeah, and theme for tonight, camo. I'm excited for that.
Absolutely. We had the pleasure, we're going to shift into our interviews now. Gus had the very pleasure of sitting down with an AC wrestler here, Oliver Funk. You're going to hear that right now.
Oliver, you're nearing 100 career wins as an Anvil Cleona wrestler. How does that feel?
It feels good. I want to try to get it this year, and it just makes me feel accomplished.
And former wrestler that you know very well also has 106 career wins. Your older brother Hayden, are you looking to pass that record, and how's that going to feel?
Yeah, I'm probably going to make fun of him when I get more wins than him. And
a little bit of that sibling rivalry there.
Yeah.
Next question. Although AC didn't win, you wrapped up the District 3 AA duels with a 12-6 pin over Jackson Payne from Littlestown. Take us through that match. Walk me through that.
I just went out there trying to get the most team points for the match and pinned 6 points.
So keeping the team in mind over yourself?
Yeah.
Awesome. Oliver, you have a very positive chance to make it to states for your individual effort this season, and you may have the potential to wrestle a former AC wrestler, Grayson Music. How would it make you feel to wrestle him, and how excited are you?
I somehow, me and Grayson were in the same weight class last year, and we somehow didn't wrestle each other, but he's nice, and it'd be fun to wrestle him, and I'm excited to see how far I can make it in postseason this year.
Awesome. Last question. What's been your favorite thing about the season so far?
Practices have been fun. We've been playing basketball as conditioning, and the whole team's super bad, and it's just funny to watch people try to play basketball.
Basketball's fun. That's awesome, man. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Ollie, for sitting down with me, or with Gus, excuse me, to do that interview. I'm curious to see if he's going to hit 100 wins this year. He's getting close at 83.
Yeah, no, that's going to be interesting to watch. If not this year, definitely next year, his senior year. I also had the pleasure of sitting down with an AC lady wrestler, Kaya Missimer. You're going to see that clip right now. Kaya, your first official season for the Lady Dutchmen Wrestling. How do you think your year's going so far?
I think it's going pretty good so far.
What's been your favorite part of the year?
Definitely at leagues when I finished third. I was really surprised. I was hoping to place, but I wasn't really expecting much. So getting third was pretty nice.
Right. You're one of the 2 seniors on the team this year. What leadership qualities are you trying to use to sort of build up the wrestling program for the future wrestlers?
I think we're trying to teach them that it really begins in the practice room. And as much as we do have fun, we try to still learn stuff and use our time wisely. So just and being a leader within the group itself, yeah.
Awesome. Yeah, practice definitely important. AC finished 11th in the past LL Girls Wrestling Leagues this past weekend, and you finished an incredible 3rd place. How does it feel to be a league medalist?
It felt pretty good. I went 4-1 that day, so it was nice to get the 4 more wins for the record.
Awesome. Another thing, what's been your favorite moment of the season so far?
I think at NL, when me and Elena both pinned our girls, it was pretty nice, and then we had other wins that night. It was just a nice thing to win when you're going against a rivalry like that.
That's awesome. Thank you for your time.
Yep.
Thank you, Kaya Missimer. Always a pleasure. I also had the pleasure of sitting down with AC's own drummer, Elijah Martin, one of my personal buddies, also on the tennis team with me. You're going to see that clip now. First chair percussionist, Elijah Martin at Region Band. Talk to me about Region Band. What did it take to get there?
So, back in December, I auditioned for District Band, which was a blind audition. So you go in and you practice the music that they have given to you, and then you go in, you audition. And so I got into District Band. And then at the District Festival, I auditioned again for Region Band, and I scored the highest out of everyone in our region, so I'm first chair.
That's awesome. Talk to me a little bit more about the mental aspect of it. What's going through your mind when you're doing these auditions?
I think it's pretty easy to get nervous since you go into the room and it's completely silent and you have to produce that sound all by yourself. But I mean, really, you just need to calm down and relax and take a minute to just gather yourself before you play and stuff.
Obviously, you're used to it at this point. What's it going to take to get to states out of regions, become first chair there?
So at the Region Festival, I'm going to audition for states. So I'm already practicing the music for that festival. So I just got to keep practicing and getting that right mindset. So when I re-audition, I can hopefully get into states.
What's been your favorite moment sort of performing so far this year?
I think the music. I feel like a lot of people don't realize the difficulty of the music that we play at the concerts, and just the sound that it produces. You can feel it, and it's really
right.
Yeah.
You just sort of have a passion for the music you play.
Yeah,
that's awesome. So lastly, Region Band. Tell me when it is and where it is.
So it's at East Stroudsburg High School. It's a 3-day festival with a concert on Saturday, March 8th.
Right. And are there any other members of the AC band that have made it to regions?
Danny Trait and I both made it, and he's also first chair.
He's on the trumpet, correct?
Yep.
Awesome. Thank you for your time, Elijah.
Of course, thank you.
Thank you to everyone who sat down and did those interviews with Gus. Always a pleasure to hear from you guys. Gus, we're now going to move into AC-related news now. You're going to start us off with ice hockey.
Yeah, ice hockey, 2 games this week. Last week, they clinched the playoffs with a win over Hempfield. They beat Central Dauphin on Monday, Northern Berks on Wednesday. Finished the season 10-6. We'll have playoffs next week. Jackson, Dutchmen Gameday's very own, a member on that ice hockey team. So exciting.
Absolutely. I'm going to shout out Kyle Hinton as well, also a member of that hockey team, does a great job for us. Hockey, we're going to play the Keystone Kraken next week. That's a big game for us. It's the first time we've made playoffs in 3 years. The last time we made playoffs, we won the cup. Hopefully, we're going to do that this year. Super looking forward to that. Wrestling, boys wrestling, had leagues and districts. First leagues, they lost. Some of those wrestlers didn't do so well. Some did. Ollie Funk, I believe, won his league's wrestling match, so very good for him. They also played district playoffs. They faced Littlestown. Ollie won that match as well, but the team did not win, unfortunately. But the boys, some of them are going to now begin their individual playoffs.
Yeah, great news for the wrestling team there. I'm going to talk about girls basketball. Coach Sanchez improves to 2-0 in the sibling rivalry with a come-from-behind win on Tuesday against Lancaster Country Day, 36-30. Great win for him, great win for that team. That's amazing.
Absolutely. Girls tonight will be at Columbia as the boys are hosting Columbia here at the barn tonight. Finally, I'm going to talk about boys basketball. They had a tough loss earlier in the week, Wednesday night against Lancaster Country Day. We covered that home game, December 13th. We covered that game. The Dutchmen won that game. It was an electric atmosphere that night. Lancaster Country Day dominated that game all the way until the end. The Dutchmen fought back. Elijah Slayback scored a lot of points, but the Dutchmen were unable to win that game. And finally, open gyms for spring sports have begun, so look out for some of those schedules. Gus, I know you're on the tennis team. Give me a little preview, a very early preview of that tennis team.
You know, it's going to be a great year. We got some new guys coming up. Me and Travis looking to get those captain spots this year. I think it's going to be very exciting.
All right, Gus. Maybe we'll cover some tennis in the spring. Excited to do that. Gus, we're now going to shift to our key to victory and key players for tonight's game. You're going to start us off. Who are the guys that you're looking at in the game tonight?
The man that's coming back is my first guy, Elijah Slayback, 1,000-point scorer. He's going to make the difference. We lost to Columbia without him, looking to beat Columbia with him. I think we get that done. John Shea stepped up when he was gone. John Shea's my other key player tonight, big guy at the center. Going to make a difference tonight. And also a young guy coming up, Lane Peters. If he can work on his turnovers tonight, Dutchmen are going to be in for a great game.
Absolutely, Gus. I like those picks there, especially that Lane Peters pick. He was my key to victory a couple weeks ago. He did very well in that game that I picked him. Some of these players do very well in the games that I picked them, which means seems like I'm a good luck charm around here. All right, my key players. My key players, number one, I have Bryce Keller. Bryce Keller, he also has a turnover problem, but I believe tonight he'll do really well. He's kind of the head of the team. He's a team captain. He does really well for this team, for the Dutchmen, and I expect him to do really well tonight. Another guy I'm looking at here is John Shea. I believe you mentioned him. He's the guy. He's the center, gets a lot of points in the paint, the big man, and he will, if he plays really well tonight, the Dutchmen will have success. And then I talked about him earlier. Max Orwine, the young kid, he's a freshman. He's getting a lot of playing time. Like I said, he had that game-winning three a couple games ago. He's really going to step up, and a lot of these younger guys are going to step up. Not just Max Orwine, but a lot of younger guys. I expect them to play tonight. Gus, our key to victory, we agreed on this earlier in the week in our production meetings. It's the Dutchmen. They got to come out firing. They can't take this Columbia team lightly. Despite Columbia's record, Anvil Cleona is one of the wins for the Tide. So the Dutchmen, they have to come out firing, and they have to play well defensively and kind of eliminate those turnovers.
Yeah, you know, you don't want to give a team something to frame over their locker room. Play this game like you would any other team. Don't look at the record. Don't look at the points. Just win the game.
Absolutely, Gus. That's a great point there. All righty, here we go. It's pick time already. We got our one mid-pen game that I'm looking at. It's Palmyra. We're going to get to that in a sec. And a couple other games across the LL League. Our guest picker this week is Dutchmen Gameday's very own and a member of the Thon Committee here at AC. Please welcome Christian Long.
Thank you guys for having me here.
Absolutely,
I can finally
Christian.
be on this side of the camera, not the other.
Absolutely, we're going to ask you about that real quick. We're finally seeing you live here on the show. Are you ready? Are you ready for your picks?
Oh, I've been ready for this.
All right, Gus, start us off.
First up, Palmyra traveling to the Red Land Patriots. Red Land, Jackson, not Red Lion. Little error there in the pick sheet. Not going to give Jackson too much of a hard time on that. Red Land, 6-12, lost to Hershey twice. Beat Milton Hershey, though, pretty high-scoring team. Palmyra, 7-9. Beat Governor Mifflin, 40-24. Before that, tough stretch, lost a lot in a row. Give me Redland to upset tonight.
I'm going to agree with you there. Palmyra, they're kind of struggling as of late, and I also don't like the Cougars that much. That kind of Lebanon County rivalry, although we don't see them that often, I just don't really like them. I'm taking the Patriots as well.
I'm going to disagree with both of you tonight. I think Palmyra is going to pull through at Redland. Palmyra's 4-7 in conference play isn't very attractive, but Redland does give up about 54 points on average per game. Give me Palmyra tonight.
And now we know why you normally don't pick with us.
Okay.
So you did your research this week, Christian. Gus?
Yeah, next up, Penn Manor traveling to Carlisle. This is going to be a high-scoring game. Penn Manor 12-5, pretty hot. Carlisle 11-6. Carlisle tough loss to Hershey earlier in the year, and a bad loss to Harrisburg. Great team though. Penn Manor scored 50 or higher in 10 of 17 games this season. High-scoring team. Carlisle could upset, but I like Penn Manor.
Gus, I'm going to disagree with you there. Not so fast, my friend. Carlisle, we don't talk about them as much. They're kind of a team that I like. to see this Penn Manor team. I like them, the LL League, but I like to pick some of these teams that we don't talk about as much. This was kind of a last-minute decision for me. I'm taking the Thundering Herd.
I'm going to agree with Jackson here. 11-6 Carlisle, 13-6 Penn Manor. They look pretty even on paper. Both of them score an average of 58 points per game. But again, I'd like the home court advantage for Carlisle, and give me the Thundering Herd.
So I'm the odd one out there, clearly. Next up, Conestoga traveling to Cocalico. Conestoga 9-7, beat Manheim Township on Monday, beat Cocalico earlier in the year, 56-51. Cocalico 7-9, scored 80 against Garden Spot. I like Conestoga to get the sweep.
Gus, I'm agreeing with you there. Interesting stat there. Conestoga Valley 1-0 against the Eagles this year, looking for that sweep. I think they do it tonight. At a tough place to play, Cocalico. I've spoke to some of the LLE coaches, and that's one of the places that teams struggle to play, but I think Conestoga Valley wins tonight.
Yeah, and I'm looking at my paper right now. I have Conestoga Valley highlighted, but as I was doing my pre-show research, I wanted to change it up. I think Cocalico is going to take this in their home court. I'm going to bring back up the points per game here. They both average about 54. Conestoga Valley 6-5 away. Cocalico 5-3 at home. I think Cocalico can take it.
I was just starting to think you were getting the hang of this, then you let me down there. Disappointing. Jackson, tell us about our next game.
All right, E-Town Bears at Warwick. Warwick, they are the powerhouse in LL League basketball. I believe, Gus, you told me that they're 16-1. I believe you mentioned that earlier in the week to me when we were looking at our games on the sheet here. E-Town, you know, I like the Bears. I love E-Town. It's a very nice place. I've been there a lot and watched a couple of those games down there. Warwick, I think they're just too much for E-Town tonight. Give me the Warriors.
I've been to E-Town a lot too. Warwick, as you mentioned, 16-1, averaging 55 points in every win. Only lost to Palmyra. But E-Town, 5-12. Most people think this wouldn't be a game, but they played earlier in the year, and E-Town only lost 53-55. If Warwick's going to drop one, it could be to this E-Town team, but I don't think so. Give me Warwick.
I'm going to finally agree with you guys here. I have Warwick as well. A fun little fact, I am good friends with a former, or with a current Warwick teacher, Miss Julie Maurer. She is also the advisor of Warwick Minithon. Really close there. I know her husband too as well. He was a college tennis player, Gus. Let's see if you can ever get there. Probably not. But we'll see. Tim Maurer, great guy, works at the Centennial Conference, Division III athletics. With that being said, I agree with both of you. Warwick's the 56th best basketball team in the state. 16-1, as Gus said. They average about 63 points per game. They're going to take this with ease.
Christian, you did your research this week. You were prepared.
Christian, I thought we were friends there, and then you threw in the tennis disc. We had the same picks, all three of us. Could have been a good thing. You had to do that to me, unfortunately.
Someone's got to be mean. Or be real. Which one do you pick?
I'm very real.
All right,
You'll
Gus.
see it right here. Next up, Ephrata taking on Solanco. Solanco beat Garden Spot 61-46 on Tuesday. Solanco 4-10. Ephrata 12-7. Beat E-Town and Hempfield. Give me Ephrata. I don't see much with this game.
Yeah, I'm going to agree with you there. Not much on my notes for this one.
I'm going to agree as well. Solanco did beat Ephrata earlier this month. Ephrata's 3-3 since that game under a first-year head coach. I don't think that matters. I think they come back and they get their revenge in Solanco's garden.
There we go. We all agreed. No one was mean.
There you go.
Great
pick.
time. Next up, Elko traveling to Garden Spot. Jackson, take us through this one.
Yeah, this would be a league game in the fall, but this is not a league game in the winter. Garden Spot, they play in a different conference in basketball than they do in football. Kind of interesting to me. Elko beat Anvil earlier in the year. I was at that game. You know, the AC was in front at halftime, then they kind of struggled. The turnovers. Can't lose. They have to win the turnover battle.
Can't turn the ball over.
Yep. Elko, I think they're just going to beat this Garden Spot team. I think Elko, you know, they're fast. They got a lot of young guys. I'm taking the Raiders.
Going to disagree with you there. Garden Spot 7-4, 1-5 in their last 6 games. That's the stat for me to look at. Elko beat Lancaster Catholic, put 70 on their heads, 70-54 in that win. But I like Garden Spot to improve to 2-6.
Gus, I would love to agree with you here, but I don't. Garden Spot lets up about 59 points per game, and they are 3-8 in their own house. Give me the Elko Raiders tonight.
I'm surprised you picked Elko with that Lebanon County rivalry. I know Gingrich
Guys,
advised
first
against
time
picking
on,
them.
doesn't know how to pick. Next up, Lancaster Country Day at Pequay Valley. Lancaster Country Day beat Anvil Wednesday, lost to Linville Hill earlier in the year. Pequay Valley 6-10, lost to Lancaster Mennonite. Lancaster Mennonite, very good team. Lost that game 43-60. Lost to AC, actually, 47-50. AC beat them earlier in the year. Give me Lancaster Country Day to take this one.
Yeah, these next 3 games that we're going to talk about, to me, are the games on the sheet. Lancaster Country Day will travel to Pequea Valley. Pequea Valley is always a fun place to go, no matter what sport. I've been there. It's kind of a nice complex they have down there in Kinzers. Lancaster Country Day, they had that win on Wednesday against Anvil. Pequea Valley, they're all right for basketball. Their gym, kind of small. It's very loud in there. I've been there. It's kind of a tough place to play. But I think the Cougars are too much for the Braves tonight. I'm taking Lancaster Country Day.
I agree with you guys. The Cougars and the Braves played earlier this month. Lancaster Country Day prevailed by 20 points. I don't think Pequea is going to overcome that tonight. Lancaster Country Day will take it.
Guys, it seems like we're getting along. Maybe we should all
We're
get
getting
dinner
along.
sometime.
I'll pass, thanks. Only because Gus offered.
Next up, Lancaster Mennonite traveling to Northern Lebanon. Lancaster Mennonite powerhouse, 15-2, almost 50+ in all of their games. Northern Lebanon 4-10, bad year. 1-1 against Anvil. Anvil dropping one to them. Give me Lancaster Mennonite. This is going to be a blowout.
Yeah, that Northern Lebanon game, that's the game that Elijah Slaybach scored 1,000 points in. I was there. I had to leave at halftime. I had a hockey game that night. We won that game, by the way. Thank you. Lancaster Mennonite, they're one of the better teams. In fact, I believe they're the best team in Section 4 and in the Yellow League. Devin Warwick, I think those are the two. But I want to highlight this. Northern Lebanon, in my opinion, is the hardest place to play in the LL League. And Lancaster Mennonite, maybe they're not going to be ready for this environment, but I'm taking Lancaster Mennonite. Not even close.
And I'm going to disagree with you about the hardest place to play. Northern Lebanon's 2-8-1 at home this year. Their student section has not seen a lot of wins yet. And it's not going to happen tonight. Lancaster Mennonite 7-1 away games. They put up 62 points per game. They're going to steamroll Northern Lebanon tonight. Give me the Blazers.
Does that stem from this Lebanon County rivalry, or you don't think they have it?
Both.
Okay. All right, Gus. Tell us.
Jackson, with your pick there, I almost questioned whether or not you have an Anvil address. You almost picked Northern Lebanon there.
Oh, I would never.
The game on the sheet, Colombia coming to town, Anvil Cleona. Jackson, start us off.
Alrighty. The game of the night. Colombia comes to town with those 3 wins. One of those was AC. They don't have much offensively. They've been kind of struggling as of late. They have that win earlier this week. Anvil Cleona, I'm going to highlight them. Elijah Slaybach, good to go tonight, 100%. He's in the lineup. Some of those other guys, like I talked about earlier, John Shea, he'll get those points. My first prediction, he's going to win the opening tip-off tonight, and I think he's going to score over 15 points for the Dutchmen. I think the Dutchmen, youth night tonight, expect a sold-out crowd, a lot of the kids in attendance, and I heard there might be a little special pregame entrance that I'm looking forward to. Maybe I'll cover that and post that on my social media. Excited to see how that looks. I don't think this game will be very close. You obviously know who I'm picking. Give me the Dutchmen.
Great pick there. The question for this game is, Colombia has beaten Anvil earlier in the year. Is Colombia Anvil's kryptonite, or was that a fluke win? Elijah Slaybach coming back today. John Shea looking to stay strong, finish up his hot streak. Lane Peters, if he can control the turnovers, going to make a difference. Defensively, Anvil's been playing well. Colombia, 10 losses. Key players returning tonight for Anvil. Give me Anvil Cleona to take this one.
Obviously, I'm going to agree with you guys here. Columbia's 0-9 in away games this year as the defending Section 4 champions. Under a first-year head coach, former Division II basketball player at Lock Haven. Not good luck this year for the Crimson Tide. Anvil Cleona, they may have lost to him earlier. As you guys said, without Elisha Slaybach, they're going to do just fine tonight. The Dutchmen are going to win.
You got a score prediction for us real quick?
I don't want to get too in over our head, but with Elisha Slaybach playing, I think he's going to get over 20 points. Give me about a 58-45 win for the Dutchmen.
That's a good pick. What exact number of points, Gus?
Give me Dutchmen winning 60-43.
Yeah, I think the Dutchmen, they're going to struggle early as they do in some of these games, but I think they'll come out on top. I think the final score, 55-38, I have Elijah Slaybach the leading scorer for the Dutchmen tonight. That will do it for tonight's live pregame show, bringing you coverage for tonight's Columbia Dutchman game. We hope you enjoyed us bringing you pregame coverage for tonight's game. We'd like to give a special quick thank yous before we wrap up our show. First, we'd like to thank Christian Long for your behind-the-scenes work and our guest picker this week. Great to have you on.
Thank you guys for having me.
Absolutely. Kyle Hinton and Cole Stoltz, our productional staff. Great job behind the scenes. They do amazing for us every single week. Mr. Clements, our show advisor. He does a very nice job for us, and we love him being on our team. Mr. Long, the AC Athletic Director, he's a huge supporter of the show. He talks very highly upon us, promotes the show as much as he can. Mr. Byler, the Tech Director, who kind of had the idea of setting up in this beautiful studio that you see here. Just an awesome setup we have. The principal here at AC, Mr. Brindle, our guest picker last week.
Love that guy.
Absolutely, I love him too. He's a big supporter of the show. He's a great guy, great person to talk to about sports, and he's one of the best principals. He's the best principal in the world. Dr. Antonis, the best superintendent in the world. She does a great job.
I love her too.
I love her too as well. She does a great job here at AC. She is a big supporter of the show. She really loves tuning in every week. Christian, do you have anything to say? In fact, and Gus and Christian, do you guys have anything to say before we wrap up tonight's show?
Well, I just want to come on here quickly. Shame Gus for not coming to Mini-Thon this year. Dude's trying to take his SATs.
I have the SAT at 8 in the morning. I cannot stay
You can take
overnight.
it sleep deprived.
Hey, I like that, Gus. I get that.
That's how Jackson comes to school every day anyways, so what's the difference here?
Absolutely.
I think if Jackson took the SAT, sleep would not matter. I think we know what score he's getting.
750 maybe.
Alrighty, if you're unable to catch tonight's game in person, it'll be streamed on the Dutchmen Athletics Huddle website. We thank you for tuning in to tonight's pregame coverage, and we hope you enjoy tonight's game. Let's go, Dutchmen!